Well, I think Camp Victory began in the mind of God because known to him are all his works from foundation of the world. It's his idea, and I'm his servant, and I'm glad I could have a little part in getting Camp Victory to go. And so I asked him to use me.
It began with a vision. It began with a vision of what God can do. It began in the hearts of people like Jonas and Ruth Miller, Miss B. Ames, and Jean and Eleanor Hedger. They dreamed big dreams of what God could do through a place called Camp Victory. Jonas and Ruth arrived in Alabama with their family in October of 1952. They soon found out about Children's Bible Mission and met area workers who were teaching the Bible in area public schools.
Harvey Berkey was the director of Alabama Division, CBM, Children's Bible Mission, and he arranged for me to meet Mr. Eugene Hedger in Gaskin, Florida, not too far from Hickory, Alabama here. And I went down there and met him. He was telling a Telegraph Bible story right there in the school. And boy, it was interesting the way he did it. And he told the kids, if you'll memorize Bible verses, enough of them, you come to camp free. That'd be 300 verses.
I think Mr. Miller came to see me while he was there in Alabama for quite a few years. Well, I was at Camp Victory right from the start, and before we had camp, I did a visit in the schools in Northwest Florida, Maniac Springs, Gaskin, Freeport, Bonifay, etc.
Students in these schools were being told Bible stories, and if they could memorize enough Bible verses, they were awarded a free week of camp. But CBM didn't own a camp. They would rent camps during the summer to honor their commitment to those who did the memory work. Jonas sensed God's leading him to look for property to build a camp.
A lot of kids are responding. They're getting a lot of verses memorized, and they want to go to camp. We don't have a camp. That was our trouble. But I realized we need a camp. So maybe God has it here for such a time as this, like Esther, And I began to look for some land. And then I heard about a farm for sale less than a mile from where we live, across a pasture. And it was a farm by a Malloy and the family, and it was for sale, 200 acres. Well, I walked across the pasture up this way here and took a good little hike across there, and I came up across a little stream running out of a swamp, and that swamp, of course, is now the lake. But that looked good to me. I saw how big that thing was. I thought, boy, that would make a big lake. And then I looked up above, and there's a little raised, more elevated ground. This is maybe just what we need. And the more I looked at this place, the more I thought, yeah, this will do all right. It was for sale, public sale. So I prayed a lot about it. Ruth and I prayed about it. And we had some property in Pennsylvania we still had, and I thought we could sell that. That was a farm, and we thought we can buy that place and borrow some money to go with it. And we did that, came over here, and the thing was selling higher than we wanted to pay. We thought we couldn't pay over $15,000 for 200 acres, which was not a very much good price, I know. But the auctioneer was accepting bids, and I bid. But another guy bid over me, and I found out, boy, I don't know if I can buy this place. A neighbor encouraged me. He said, that man that's bidding against you is a timber buyer, and he knows the worth of this timber that's on this place, and this place is worth what they're asking for it. So I put another bid on, but I hesitated. The auctioneer said, now let's just take a break, and then we'll come back and sell this place. Well, that other man was bidding against me, was a timber buyer. I didn't know who he was. But he asked the auctioneer who I was. He brought him over to me, and we talked a little about what I wanted to do. I was going to want to use part of it for a camp in the swamp, lake, and children's camp. And when he understood what I wanted it for, he said, "I'm through, you can have it." And there we had bought 200 acres for less than $80 an acre. In my vision, the big building would be right up there, about where it is now, and the girls on one side, boys on the other side. And this would be our camp. And I could almost see those buildings, if you call it a vision or whatever, I don't know, but it was pretty real to me. But Mr. Berkner helped me to kind of, here's a road, here's a ball field. And he told me after he wasn't too impressed, but it was free, so the board accepted it.
Jonas asked us to come down and look at some property that he thought would make where he thought there would be a good camp. And because he was running camps and we were running camps. And so we came down. It's awful hard to tell because it's so different. I think we came to the highway and walked up to here, or something. It was all farm, birds flying, and all that stuff. He took us up where it was higher, and he told us to look. And he said, "Now, I think this would make a good place for a camp." We believed him. We said, "Okay, Jonas, if you say so." And so from that time on, we were part of the team. The Lord has done wonderful things, hasn't he? It was just a mess.
In 1960, work was begun developing the land and buildings. On June 26, 1961, the first week of camp started. Someone suggested calling this new piece of property Camp Victory. That was 50 years ago. The vision had become reality.